So last episode it seemed I spent a little too much time in the sewers, and as we head above ground, the cleaners have managed to get rid of all my spray paints. But not to worry, thanks to a new resident, those people have been humanely dealt with. Hey, it's clearly not a daily uploader here, and welcome back to another Roblox Spray Paint video. Today we'll be heading down into the subway where I decided to give myself a little challenge and try out some perspective graffiti art. This became way more difficult than it had to be, and you'll find out why in this video. With that said, let's head into the speed paint. So here we are, starting off with the rough layer, you could say. Here I'm just trying to get the initial shape down. I wanted to go with like a flowy shape for the dragon, so here I wanted to go with the infinity style look to it. And you can see on the floor there's kind of like a marker there that I left. Obviously you need that to like go back and forth to check for consistencies, but since this is only the rough layer, I had the freedom to kind of be as loose as I wanted with it, with just like a tad bit of erasing. And you can see this is one of the new tools that Spray Paint gave to us. It's the Opacity Tool. I know it wasn't necessary for this process, but I just wanted to use it anyway. And yeah, just a lot of back and forth, making sure the curves are curvy, going back and forth, checking if it's all like in shape and stuff. And not forgetting the legs. You can see here I'm doing it on the rough layer as well. I had to do some redos on it because I struggled with like making it like flowy in the shape of the dragon with these Japanese dragons that like reference from Google. Like, a lot of their arms, they are like kind of angled, and yeah, I wanted to get that really iconic like claw design of a lot of these Japanese dragons. And here I finally decided to start working on the face. Now, I really struggled with this for some reason. Even though I had like a small doodle of a dragon on my desk, I was looking back and forth, up and down, you know, trying to get the details right. But for some reason I just couldn't do it. I did a lot of undoing and redoing of the eye over and over and over again, but for some reason, even though I had reference, I still kind of struggled with it, which is really odd. So yeah, I decided that halfway through it, I mean not halfway through it, but just like knowing that I was struggling this hard for some reason, I was just like, screw it. I just removed the entire face and just kind of sketched in game, if you would say. Like, I sketched out the shape and it was immediately better for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it just worked. You can see here, yeah, the shape was immediately better looking. I got the overall like style of it down. I don't know why it was so odd when I was working with reference, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And now with the face done, I started working on the scales and all the body details. I'm going in with pink. I don't know why I decided with pink. I just like the look of it. time I had to be really like careful, like, you know, with my line work, make them curvy but still kind of connect, because again, these are like multi-surface, like really weird obscure angles that I had to go through. Okay, so here I'm starting to work on the legs and the claws and stuff. To me, this is really satisfying because in the beginning I really doubted that this would look good on the dragon because of the shape style. Like they just, to me, I was like, oh, these are just gonna jut out and look weird. But I mean, looking at the reference of other Japanese dragons, they still managed to keep that. It's still, I mean, it just looks fine. I just had to get that angle right and that bend right in the arms and whatnot. And honestly, they turned out great. I'm not sure what I was complaining about, to be honest. Yeah, here with the scales and stuff, especially with a pillar and a little bit of like horizontal like concrete pillar thingy, like getting the scales to like kind of connect was really like irritating. Oh, and you could actually see on the floor, I kind of just moved around the marker because I thought there were some angles where I thought, oh, this looks kind of good at this angle and not from here and whatnot. So yeah, that kind of changed several times. I was going to have this like cool spiky spine going throughout the entire dragon, but I was like, oh, this is really going to be a struggle, so I only had it in like the front half and the back half of the dragon. And now for the reason why this was a really big struggle. So nearing the end of this, I was basically doing the final details. So basically like the small details, adding in that neon, and I essentially did finish it. And I stood back in game and I was like, okay, I'm done. And I went over to click save, like, you know, as you do. And the save failed, believe it or not. And I thought I had this whole thing fixed, but it just came back to haunt me again. So I was just kind of gobsmacked there, like looking at the artwork, knowing I finished it, but knowing that I could leave and I could leave my private server and either all of it will vanish or some of it will vanish. So I just kind of took the gamble and left my private server, rejoined, and I'm not even joking, like nearly half of the dragon was missing. All the detail was gone, but luckily the face was still there. But other than that, most of the detail vanished. And all the little details and all the neon I just had to redo again. So I did manage to record the process, and in the process there is the final outcome. But for the B-roll footage, I essentially just had to redraw it, so there's a tad bit of difference in the detail work when you come to watch the B-roll footage. But yeah, so happy I got the process recorded at least. So here I worked with 0.1 detail and going into the scales, going into the ears and the horns and the eyes, and some of the line work to make them more like sharper and less just one even stroke in some areas. And going in with like finer detail with the scales. That was not as hard as it looked. I guess it was just like smaller details, but again I still had to consider the shape and the weird angles I had to go through. And now for the satisfying part, the very satisfying part, the neon, like the iconic dragon beard thing. I was really excited to do this. I was originally going to make it in a normal paint color, but that neon was just really satisfying. So you can see me here working on the eye and then eventually going onto the beard, which was really satisfying. And you could see at the ends of it, using the thinnest brush to really make that that really delicate curl at the end of them. And then here I decided, hey, why not do it on the claws? And it was just really satisfying to just see this like glowing color on the claws and whatnot. On the tail here too, I thought the tail was a little bit plain, and just adding that glow to it just made it really impressive in my opinion. So you can see here I've been very sparing, because just like the spray paint, the neon also has a limit to how much you could use. So I'm just doing this so I could save it up for future video ideas basically. And there you have it, even with that slight struggle at the end. Anyway, thank you for watching this far into the video. Remember to like, comment, and check out my playlist for more spray painting videos. And I'll see you all next time.